Okay, awesome. Let me just start off. Welcome to Radio Silent Play Trading on this Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. Let me just start off with a brief disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. Anything that I say or mention is for educational purposes only. I may or may not hold some of the stocks that I mentioned. Please remember to do your own research before trading any stock or options. Trading stocks and options require lots of risk. So we're continuing our Twitter spaces with some interviews. I'm just recapping some of the stocks that we've interviewed in the past have seen a considerable gain. We had some interviews with DDDX, which at that time was trading around 5 to 6 cents, and that stock ended up rallying and hitting a high of close to 14 cents. Now it's trading very, very well. QEDN and also ticker symbol GEGI. That stock has been trading very well in an uptrend channel. Had news, went pink current, and is doing considerably well. We had another company, ticker symbol GHAV, and that stock was trading around 2.5 and ended up hitting a high of 0.0544 and now trading extremely well as well. One of the reasons we like doing this is because for a lot of traders, for a lot of investors, sometimes there's not a place where you can kind of get a couple of information from the company. I think it's very, very important to get management that is transparent. That's going to give opportunity as well to maybe do a Q&A or just, get a little bit of feedback from these companies, because what we want to do as traders, we want to know what's going to give us the best risk reward, right? So overall, I'm looking forward to this interview. Just going to go briefly over what the company is. This is ticker symbol ODYY. They trade under the OTC pink current, and their name is Odyssey Group International Inc. If I look at them right now, they're actually up 9% on the day, trading at 40 cents. The stock's market cap is 30 million. Authorized shares is 500 million. Outstanding shares is just 82 million. Float is 20 million. It's trading at and near its lows. If you look, the stock's been trading its 52-week range from 10 cents all the way up to 2 cents. $2, I'm sorry, $2. So that's 10 cents to $2. So there's a lot of room. Average volume is going to be somewhere around 60,000. That's within the last 30 days. Today's trading range, 38 cents to 42, and it almost hit 43. It's looking pretty strong off this bottom. And if I look at what the company does in the business description, the corporate mission is to create or acquire, which that's a key word, acquire distinct assets, intellectual property, and technologies for life-saving medical products. The company is focused on building and acquiring assets in areas that have an identified technological advantage, provide superior clinical utility, and have a substantial market opportunity. So if you look at their latest news, current in filings, we know that September 28th is a key date. They are current with filings. You don't have to worry about them. Verified profile, transfer agent verified, independent directors. If you look here, consistent news updates since June of 2021, very consistent. One of their key news that I'm seeing is a clinical trial. They've been approved to start human trials to treat concussion with their patented medicine. And they're actually attending, or they attended the Odyssey Group International to present at the H.C. Wainwright 23rd Annual Global Investment Conference. So maybe we could ask them a little bit about that. If I go over to the chart, just really briefly, just so I can give you kind of what I'm seeing, I like to give a little bit of overview of what I'm seeing on the chart. The stock right now is trading in a little bit of a consolidation, and you have an 8 into 21 MA cross, which I really like. Today, we actually confirmed above the 8-day moving average, right at that 8-day moving average and that 21-day moving average, and we're seeing a cross. We're seeing a little bit of MACD negative into positive right now. I would like to see that curl up. We have a 200-day moving average at 63. The stock has traded in the past at $2. Okay, if you want to see their major support, what I would do is I would put this on at the weekly. I would set up the weekly, and I will post this. And if you notice, you're right here at key levels of support at 28 cents. So I like that like kind of 28, 26 cent level. That's what I would use as my floor. And I'm going to post these charts later on. Hopefully we're recording this so I can show it to you. But what I like about the weekly chart, I'm actually starting to see the 8 and the 21 on the weekly merge. We have a 200-day moving average at $1.12. So that's a huge upside. And I'm starting to see that MACD negative to positive with that bullish divergence. The histogram is going from negative to positive. That black line is going into that purple line. So that's a key indicator for me. I like the risk reward. Floor is right at that 25, 26 level. So you have good levels of risk reward. That master support right now is holding right here at that 38 cent level. Okay, so let me just come and see if we have the gentleman here ready to talk. Just briefly introduce yourself and what you are to the company, and if
Sure.
you can give us like just a brief overview of the company.
Yeah, happy to. So my name's Mike Redmond, and I am the CEO of Odyssey Group International. I've got a background in medical technologies, particularly devices, but also with some biologics as well. Worked for Abbott Laboratories for a number of years and other companies that brought both devices and pharmaceuticals to market. So we've got significant experience. We've got a management team here that has experience bringing both devices, combination drug and devices, and pharmaceuticals. As you mentioned, Odyssey, a few assets. One's in the cardiology space. We call CardioMap. It allows for real-time EKG and digital mapping of the heart. The second one is a device that we acquired along with the patents for rescuing choking victims. We call SaveALife. We currently have a prototype of that and are moving that towards commercialization. What you mentioned earlier and what we are focused keenly on, particularly this month, now that we've been approved to start a trial, is a drug device combination for a treatment for concussions. We acquired this technology from a company in Florida called Prevacus back in the March timeframe of 2021. They had been working on the drug for several years. It created a very novel compound. There's issued patents on the novel compound, and it will be the first. If approved, it'll be the first treatment for concussion. Currently, there is no treatment really for concussion other than rest and over-the-counter medications. So this drug was created by two individuals, both of them in their neuroscience field. One's a PhD neuroscientist. The other one's a toxicologist that worked for Genentech for a number of years and has helped to develop the drug with a extremely high safety profile. So the animal data has been extremely strong, showing both efficacy as well as a safety profile. So we don't see that there should be any issue with safety. And recently we submitted to start a phase 1 human trial, and were recently approved for that about 2 weeks ago. So that trial has commenced. We are screening patients and starting to enroll patients. It's being done in Australia. Australia government gives you a 43% rebate on any clinical trials that you do in country, and the FDA will accept data from an Australian study. So So we're very excited about moving that product into the clinic. ODYY, as you said, is fully reporting. We have been for a number of years. And our fiscal year is July 31st. So we just finished our fiscal year and plan to file our 10K early October.
So what I'm hearing right now, there's absolutely no type of treatment for concussions, because we do know that it's part of, especially right now with sports, a lot of these CTE incidents. Right now, there's nothing that people can take that's prescribed for a concussion.
Correct. There's no FDA approved treatment other than over-the-counter meds.
Right. So we're basically under human trials right now. So this could last, but at the same time, you're saying you're actually funded a percentage from the country, and they accept it federally here if it gets approved.
That's correct. We fund the trial, and then they give you a rebate. So we've actually put in for our rebate and expect a certain amount of money to come back in October. And the FDA will take our safety data. Phase 1 is you're really just making sure the drug is not going to be toxic.
Right.
So we're putting it into healthy humans. It'll be done fairly quickly. It's 48 subjects. We'll start in October. We'll get data off of each of those subjects about every 3 weeks. So we'll be able to publish that data. We are live on the U.S. clinicaltrials.gov, and we've got a space on that website where we can upload data as it comes in, so people will be able to see it in real time.
Right. So we could be expecting some updates. Now, the question that I have for you, is there any reasoning for picking Australia? Is that something that tactically it's better to do something there rather than to do it here? Is it a little bit more of a faster kind of approach going overseas?
We did think it would be a faster approach, number one, but probably the biggest advantage is the fact that they give you a 43% rebate. And
Right.
so that financial consideration was significant for us.
Right. So investors and traders that are listening to this, he's actually cutting costs, and he's expediting, because I'm sure that here doing that in the States, it would be a little bit more difficult. And what knowing that this is actually the first of and patented, I would think that, I didn't expect. I thought they would have something that you could actually take for concussion. So that to me is a plus, because whenever you get something that's groundbreaking and there's nothing there, it's something that we have to consider as investors and traders. So just annotate that for you guys that are listening. That's key. You're cutting costs 43%. Not only that, you're expediting, and you're at clinical trials. And this is from September 1st. So right now they're moving pretty quickly, because we're now in September 21st. As we start heading into the market jumping, especially looking at the major markets, whether you're looking at the IBB or you're looking at the pharmaceutical kind of sector, you're starting to see some bottoms. So just keep an eye on Sympathy and look for any updates on this. So I got a couple of questions that
Sure.
I have here. So it says, so we talked about what you're currently working on. Would you start considering to potentially uplist to a higher exchange? Because some people get a little nervous with that, right? So when you uplist to a higher exchange, sometimes they'll start talking about reverse splits, like if we're moving up to NASDAQ. Is that something that you want to organically wait for? Maybe get to that dollar range and then submit it? Or are you guys planning? I don't know if you deal with that, but that's something that people really, really take into consideration when they go long or invest or trade a specific equity or security.
Yeah, we've been patient. We've been on the OTC since inception, which is really 2014. I think we were on the OTC in 2015. We've been trying to do the proper blocking and tackling. We've raised cash. We're fully reporting. We think that we've acquired very undervalued assets where we can make a significant contribution and create value.
Right.
And we will, at the right time, more than likely uplist. We've had, you mentioned H.C. Wainwright as a investment bank that we recently did a presentation at. We've got several banks that are interested in working with us. So, and we did just have our annual meeting and a proxy. We are approved for a reverse split if we chose to,
Right.
in conjunction with a NASDAQ uplist. But again, we're trying to create value, and we'll be patient and do it at the right time.
Right. So that's a pretty good answer for us. So what we want to see is shareholders, investors, keep an eye on this one, because if you, with the share structure that they have, very, very favorable, you start seeing some flow of information as far as updates. You could see significant value, right? They break $1, then all they have to do is just, put in for that uplist to NASDAQ. So that's pretty exciting, because you're getting it at rock bottom prices. So what are the costs whenever you're in development of these drugs? It is pricey though, right? As far as like coming up with the product and mass kind of production. How does that work? Do the governments help you out too? Because I know that typically these pharmaceutical companies make money off of insurances. How does that work on your guys' end?
Well, it can be expensive to bring a drug to market. There's no doubt about it. The FDA requires extensive testing, and generally you have to go through a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3, and it can be time consuming and it can be costly. Fortunately, with our phase 1, it's not that costly. The clinical trial in Australia is about $1.5 million, and we're going to get 43% of that rebated to us. Phase 2 is going to require more patients, upwards of probably 250. So that'll be more expensive. But there is several opportunities with the government to get grants. In fact, we just submitted for a grant. There's a DOD put out a grant of $58 million potential. So we've put an application in for that. We believe that, people mostly associate concussions with sporting events, but which is obviously a real concern. But the military has as many or more concussions that take place through training and through battle.
Right.
So it's a very serious issue with the DOD.
Definitely.
The NIH is looking at it as well, and the elderly population falls in nursing homes and people of older age that just fall and hit their head. So the concussion is really
could happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody, so it's throughout your entire life. So, but there is opportunity because there is no treatment for this right now, FDA-approved treatment. We believe that there's a potential for it to be fast-tracked by the FDA, and there's a potential that the DOD may end up using something, if you can prove it works, prior to a phase 3 trial. So we think that there's tremendous upside, despite the fact that there is potentially a significant investment. Right.
And then I'm looking at your website, and you talked a little bit about CardioMap, which is patent pending, and it shows that it's really intense. It shows 3D imaging. Right now, I'm reading here that they're saying that the cardiac monitoring market is projected to be $28 billion by 2021. We're already at 2021, and I've been noticing, and not to kind of throw politics into the world, but there's been a lot of issues with the vaccines, right? A lot of vaccines are happening, and people are having issues with hearts. So is this something that's going to be available to a consumer, like a regular person like me, if we're doing any telehealth over the phone? Can somebody have this at their house and be able to test themselves, or is this mainly for for the medical world?
No, it could be. It's definitely geared towards both.
Oh, okay.
Physician, you can definitely have in a physician's office or a hospital. It gives physician type results that are a quality that a physician would want to see. But it's a small, handheld, portable device that's extremely easy to run. You put a little cuff on each wrist and each ankle. You press a button that's hooked up to your PC. And 30 seconds later, you have a digital map of your heart and an EKG readout. So it'd be very simple to use at home. And a lot of this telemedicine, where they use something like this at home, and then you essentially just text it or email it into your physician so that they can read it.
Right. So to me, this looks groundbreaking. I'm not the biggest tech guy, but to me, it looks very, very simple to use. And the graphics on the 3D imaging that you get on this is unreal. The stuff that you have here on the website, is that just a picture that you guys use, or is that the actual product?
No, that's the actual product.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been tested, and we continue to refine it. So we're hoping to it would require a 510K, which is a class 2 device.
Right.
And I've done several 510Ks, so I don't see that as a significant challenge. We just need to continue to make some software modifications, and we're hoping to be able to file that 510K early next year.
Right. So if you guys get a chance listening on, just jump on the website, and where they have their link projects, just go on to their CardioMap, and it looks very, especially in the now, especially with what's going on, where people that have to, go see a doctor. A friend of mine, actually, they have a kid, right? And this kid has an issues with underdeveloped heart when he was a kid. So now they require him to take the vaccine for his job. And he actually called in, because I was there with him, and he goes, I need to get checked out. And they were like, the next appointment is going to be like mid-October. And he's like, I can't wait that long. So these are the type of things that I kind of look at, especially when you can get something that is ready to use, and just the quality, because this looks like you could literally see the heart. So
yeah,
it's something that you guys can kind of check out. And then you have the SaveALife. So the SaveALife is a choking and rescue device. Now I through a job, because I'm one of the guys in charge for the building. Like, you have to put yourself as like almost like an EMT if something goes wrong in the building. I work with Deutsche Bank, and they have those machines that you put on people. But this is sort of like that, right? You can have these in multiple businesses. If somebody's choking, you could have these in restaurants, and you could have this at home, right?
That's a good analogy.
Right.
Yeah, it's very analogous to like a defibrillator.
A defibrillator. There you go. And those things are kind of priced. Sometimes they end up taking those from buildings. But tell us a little bit about the SaveALife choking, because it is patent pending as well, and it looks fairly made. It's a good quality. It looks pretty good.
So the patents actually on the SaveALife are issued. So we've got there's 2 patents. It was developed by a physician actually in New York City who had 2 friends die of choking events.
Right.
And his brother was a mechanical engineer, and he's an MD. And they got together and said, there's got to be a better way. And they did their research and determined that in the literature, the Heimlich only works 30% of the time. And obviously you have to know how to do it.
Right.
So they thought they would come up with a mechanical device that would remove any type of lodged mass in the throat and make it as fail safe as you can. So they created a small device. They put patents on it, got them issued, and they weren't really, have the capability to bring something like that through development, put it through the FDA, and bring it to market. So through some business development contacts I have, I looked at it, vetted it, and acquired it. So we've contracted with a group out of Connecticut, Tanaka Capec, that does medical devices like this type of thing. They've been
Right.
working with us to develop it, and we've had an initial prototype. We brought it to some focus groups, got some great feedback from some EMTs and ER physicians, making a few design changes and moving that project forward. Also hope to be into the FDA with that next year.
Wow. So we
Yeah.
got three actual things that can be used through a regular consumer and also just mass production through like EMTs, even in buildings. Is there anything that's like this right now? Do you have any competitors? Because I've never seen something like this.
Not going to be like ours. There are a couple of, I'd say, kind of plastic devices out there for rescuing choking victims.
Right, right,
They're not FDA approved, and I don't believe that. We've tested them. We don't believe they work that well. So
right. Because
ours is going to be almost industrial type thing, and we'll put it through the FDA and get the proper approvals.
right, because I'm reading here. It's like it works with a vacuum. It looks like it looks like. I mean, I've never seen something like it. I don't even know what to say, but
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
excited about it.
yeah, I think that would be a really good thing because I know that people sometimes do the Heimlich and they do it wrong and they end up crushing people's ribs. So it's something that I believe, especially what they're saying there. How many people have died from just choking? So,
Yeah, yeah, it's a big issue.
all right. As far as like, I saw your website and I noticed that you guys have an NFL person. Is that person involved in that, or you guys just use that picture? Are they maybe you guys are
No,
looking or
we
talking to
have.
the NFL or any type of sports kind of entity?
Yeah, we have. We've particularly related to the concussion drug. We've put together a sports advisory board that
Oh, okay.
it's essentially sports figures that are impassioned about finding a treatment for concussion. So
Right.
they have signed up officially to work with us to help keep the awareness of the need for a treatment. And that advisory consists of Brett Favre, who's an NFL quarterback, Mark Ripien, uh, also an MVP Super Bowl quarterback.
Oh yeah, he used to throw those Hail Marys, Mark Rippon. He used to play for the Washington Redskins, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
Yeah, he used to throw those bombs, and they actually won that year. Amazing.
yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah.
We also have a soccer player, Abby Wambach,
Okay.
who's on our board. Kurt Warner,
Kurt
also
Warner.
an NFL's Super Bowl MVP. David Ross, who's the current manager of the Chicago Cubs. And I lived in Boston for several years. I watched him win a World Series. Though he missed several games that season because of multiple concussions, so he's a real
Wow.
fan of ours. And then Steve Mariucci, who is currently he was a head coach in the NFL, and he currently sits on the Player Safety Advisory Committee, and he's part of our advisory as well.
So there you go. That was my next question, and you just answered it. The Sports Advisory Board. You have a lot of names and people that actually care about this because concussions also could lead to CT injuries and then later after effects. Right? We saw Junior Seau, who's always smiling, and then he ended up taking his life. So I think that there's an important kind of I guess you could say there's a big importance to bring out some type of medication. I didn't even know that there was no medication. So
Yeah,
I'm
there's no treatment.
right. So I'm
You know,
excited.
yeah, it's nice that almost every one of these actually have invested in the company, so they're not just spokespeople.
Right. Oh, wow. So they're investing themselves. So you guys are hearing it now. You have a sports advisory board that's listed with a bunch of Hall of Famers or legends, and they're actually investing as well. Not only their money, but I'm sure their time, and they want to get something done, especially for concussions, CTEs. Is there anything before we end this call that you would like to add? Um, from the looks of it, I'm more of a technical aspect perspective. I think that there just isn't that much awareness. But from the information that you're giving me, I feel very, very confident in what you guys are doing. if you guys are really running the ball, especially with clinical trials, you guys are basically in that area where you can get updates anytime now. You have a beautiful thing with the EKG testing of the heart, and then also the patents going for the choking machine. I think that you guys are showing good upside, especially on that chart. You guys used to trade at $2, and you're actually at around 40 cents right now. So is there anything that you would like to tell the shareholders and investors that are kind of listening right now?
I think the one other big plus for our company is that we have a medical advisory too. That's if there was MVP caliber of neuroscientists, we've got two of the best in the country that are associated on our advisory board. Dr. Dallas Hack was he ran all of the DoD medical, and Dr. James Kelly is a neurologist and runs a large brain type foundation. So they're both MDs. They've been in the neuro space for many decades between the two of them, and they've vetted this science, are extremely excited about the prospects of it, and backed us 100%. So we believe that we have very strong science. We've got a great management team, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to push all these products forward.
Well, I'm looking forward to the updates. As far as neuroscience, one more question. I don't know
Sure.
if you can answer for them, because there's like a big transition now to psychedelics. You're hearing a lot of talks about psilocybin and also ketamine. What's your thoughts on that? As far as that, do you have any opinion on that? Because I know a lot of companies right now. That's something that people are looking at, especially these investors. They like to jump on that next trend. We had that with cannabis, with THC. What are your opinions on that?
Well, they'd be anecdotal. I'm no expert in the psychedelics or any of that, but
Right.
I've been around this kind of pharmaceutical and medical community for more than 35 years, and I I think that done right, that
Right.
the psychedelics are going to have a real place. I would be more positive on it than not.
Right.
I think
Right.
they can offer a lot of benefit to people that are depressed and some other stuff.
Right. And that's what I wanted to kind of like, because that's something that, I mean, I've done microdosing in the past, and I used to suffer a lot with anxiety. Like my hands would always sweat. And as I did that, I felt like that kind of got away from me, and I stopped thinking about it. So naturally, it just kind of like eases you. I just wanted to know your opinion on that. But great interview, and it's gonna be on my watch list. I'm gonna update the chart later on. Hopefully, one of my guys recorded this so we could throw it on YouTube. And I just really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to the next interview. If we see it doing really well, maybe we could have you back on, maybe
Yep.
after some updates.
Yeah, we'll have data coming out at the end of October, so I'm happy
October,
to come back on. Yep.
awesome,
Every 2 to 3 weeks after the last week in October, we should have updates on the clinical
beautiful.
trials.gov. So
All
we'll
right,
keep you
guys.
informed.
End of October, you heard it. It's the first of we don't have anything for concussions. Three beautiful products that we're looking forward to, and the stock is bottomed. Used to trade at $2. He doesn't have any intent to reverse split. It basically gives us the rule of three, right? Great chart, great management, and we're looking forward to hearing from you again, sir. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, thank you for coming on. Until the next one. Hopefully, if we put this on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so you guys get some updates. Thank you all. Take care. Have a good night.